a year, NASCAR pays a visit to the sandy shores of Florida. But while the fans might enjoy a day at the beach, the stars of the NASCAR Cup Series must work at night under the lights at the Daytona International Speedway. There'll be plenty of fireworks as EA Sports presents the Pepsi 400.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are live, and it is another edition of NASCAR 06 Total Team Control on the channel. And today, can we end the long-awaited winless streak at Daytona? I have never won at Daytona on the channel in the NASCAR EA Sports video game. We have another shot tonight in the Pepsi 400. We'll be starting from the pole with our driver Greg Biffle. Redemption from Daytona in the 500 where we led the most laps, but blew an engine with just 90 laps to go in the race. And unfortunately, that was the first of what is now 3 DNFs on the season. Big picture is obviously winning the championship, especially because I did not win the championship in the first season in our Do It For Dale series. But we are sitting third in points, just 17 out of first in race 14 tonight. And we'll see if we can close that gap a little more. This is going to be interesting. I mean, I'm honestly nervous for this just because we're on the pole. We ran really good at Daytona earlier this season, so I know we're going to have a really fast race car. I did knock the air pressure down a little bit to try to give myself a little more grip, but honestly, I think we're going to have a really good shot at trying to win this thing. 14 attempts to win Daytona full races in the Cup Series on this game. Not just on this game, but this game, NASCAR 5, NASCAR 4, all the EA Sports games we played on the channel. And, yeah, 400 miles, 160 laps to try and get it done. We have to keep the car clean. We can't get into trouble here and try to play catch-up because that never works on the super speedways with me on the EA Sports side of things. So, like, subscribe. It's going to be one heck of a ride coming to the checker. Dark Lord of the Sith 6, Wade Solinsky, Patrick Shadley, Asizi, Billy Carjoy, Sam Modding, True Assassin 86X, and others. Welcome into the stream. Let's get the race underway today. Will attempt number 14 be the time in which I am finally going to go to victory lane at Daytona? Greg Biffle will lead the field to the green, and we're underway. Top 3 are all going to be Roush Fenway Fords and Kansas starting in fifth. So 4 of the 5 Roush cars starting up at the front of the field. And Biffle gets the launch and leads the field down into turns 1 and 2. Quickly pulled out ahead of the 99 of Carl Edwards. A lot of pressure is going to be on and really going to try to keep the track position. Oh, Edwards into the wall. Biffle never made contact with him, but Edwards kind of drove up into the wall after he got crowded by the 16, and he's going to lose a couple positions. Kurt Busch to the outside lane now. Kenseth to the bottom. And Kenseth to the inside of the 16, and here comes Kurt back to the outside, 3 wide, but it's going to be Matt Kenseth leading lap 1 at Daytona. So Kenseth will lead the opening lap of the Pepsi 400 tonight. Biffle, who started on the pole, going to be in second, with Bobby Labonte in third, and Edwards fell outside the top 5 already. Derek Booth, thanks for tuning in. Car feels a little tight, not going to lie. Yeah, I made a community tab post about what happened to Coy Gibbs this weekend, unfortunately. I took down one of the videos I uploaded, too, from the post-race of the Xfinity Series. The Ty Gibbs getting booed, basically, and with all out of respect to the Gibbs family that I decided to take that video down. Greg Biffle not even going to look to try to pass the 17 car of Matt Kenseth right now. Going to kind of sit in line behind him. Not going to aggressively battle for the race lead. He just wants a shot to win at the end. Today is a day that, well, we are just not thinking about points. We are going to simply think about trying to win just because it has been so long for me to try to win. You got to figure, we started the EA Sports gameplay on the channel over 2 years ago. And over 2 years and 14 races in that time frame at Daytona, I have not won. So it is, this has definitely been one that's eluded me. Obviously, I'd like to win the Daytona 500 sometime still. And we're 0 for 6th there. But 0 for 14 at Daytona as a whole in the Cup Series. Who won the Cup Championship in real life this weekend? It was Joey Logano. Got the wing shirt on, yep. Actually got off the golf course a little over an hour ago, right before it got dark. Shot a 74 today. One of my best rounds of the year. Went even par on the front 9, which was only the 9th time I'd ever gone even par or better on 9 holes, so I was hitting lights out. I ended up hitting 11 of 18 greens in regulation. I was throwing some darts out there. I only had one birdie, though. It was on the back. The weird thing is, it was like the coldest weather I've played in this year. It was 54, but with the wind, the feel-like temperature was 48. Still willing to play golf. You don't have too many more days left this year. It's supposed to be down to a high of 40 pretty much this weekend all the way through next week, so golfing might be done here after the next couple days. I don't think I'm going to be able to play unless I get off of work early tomorrow, and Thursday is looking like the last day I'll be able to play, unfortunately. Santiago Kid, thanks for tuning in. I heard something about a tropical storm heading towards Florida again. Hopefully it's not going to be too severe. Ken's at the Biffle pulling away from the field right now. Biffle trying to keep on the patient side of things. A little bit different of a strategy. Kind of similar to what we saw at Talladega out of Kyle Busch. He didn't get the win off of that strategy, though. Ended up actually finishing in 3rd, but Biffle wants a shot to at least have a good finish here. He's not worried about leading any laps right now. He's just going to sit behind Matt Kenseth. And the more green flag racing we get and the less restarts we have to deal with, the better. These guys are going to be able to push it 40 laps on fuel. It's only going to be a 3-stop race. And obviously this is a fuel strategy mode right now for Greg Biffle, drafting behind Matt Kenseth the way he is. Category 1. Last I saw it was a tropical storm. It might have changed by now. I will say, though, this 16 car is a little bit tighter than what the Daytona car was from what I remember. Mark DeMars, thanks for tuning in tonight. Biffle getting some decent-sized runs, especially on the back straightaway, but not looking to really pull out a line to make the pass on the 17 car at this point. Kenseth in the top 10 in points. Looking for a solid points day today. He has not won a points race yet this season, but remember, he was very good in the Daytona 500, and throughout speed weeks, he actually won his dual race in dual race number 1. All 5 Roush cars were in that same dual race number 1 at Daytona. Have to make sure not to clip that apron at all. Very treacherous at Daytona in this game. Guys are just breaking away from the field. We'll alternate through the different camera angles for the first time in the race today. Honestly, though, with the car being tight, I think it's actually going to be all right to do a two-stop strategy, or sorry, a two-tire strategy. And it's really nice that the Roush teammates alongside Biffle qualified up at the front. Yeah, Biffle was on the pole. Kenseth led these first 9 laps so far. Big run for Biffle. Gonna bump draft Kenseth off into turns 3 and 4. Biffle got a little tight, ended up on the outside lane. Should be close enough to stay in the draft behind him still, though. And he is. Made sure Kenseth wasn't going to pull away too much. Big run for Biffle. Looking to the outside, but not looking to pass. Just because he didn't want to lift and wanted to keep that momentum up. And once the momentum died out, dropped right back down to the bottom in the middle of the corner. Another quick bump draft to the 17. He almost turned him. Almost turned Matt Kenseth. He hit him square, but Kenseth couldn't hang on to it, and Biffle's going to be in the lead for the first time tonight. And the Pepsi 400. I don't know if he hit him going too fast. I don't know how that bump draft didn't even work. Kenseth made a great save, but his car got all sorts of jacked up there. That's going to be 5 bonus points for Biffle leading his first lap of the evening. Not the way he wanted to do it. He's lost his teammate. Now he's got nobody to draft with. That lead pack's going to catch up to him eventually here. What a tough break for Kenseth in the early going. Yeah, Greg Biffle tried to bump draft him, and he just ended up... I don't know if he just lifted the rear tires up off the ground, hit him at too high and too fast of a speed, and Kenseth couldn't hang on. It's obviously much harder to push with these Gen 4 cars. Bodies aren't quite as symmetrical as what we saw from the car of tomorrow into even the next gen, but bumpier track surface as well doesn't help. 2.5 lead right now for Biffle. That entire pack is going to end up swallowing him up here pretty soon. Try to hang on as best as he possibly can. We still got at least 1 more year as a Harvick fan. Welcome to the stream, Billy. Kind of feel bad. Kenseth got knocked out, but that's only going to hurt Greg Biffle a little bit. It's going to allow him to lead some laps, but it's 1 less teammate he's going to have. So his lead cars were able to get on by pretty quickly. All Roush Fenway so far in the first 14 laps of the Pepsi 400 tonight. First Matt Kenseth and now Greg Biffle in the lead. And Bobby Labonte in second place is closing in. He's got a big run on Biffle, who had that gigantic lead. Biffle to the outside to try and block on the back straightaway, and he'll be able to do so. Elliott Sadler in third, who's been on a hot streak lately. Had 4 straight top 3s until last night's race on the Daytona Beach Street Course event, which unfortunately ended up finishing in 12th and lost the points lead a bit, because now Jeff Gordon leads Sadler by 1 point coming into tonight's race. Sadler on the inside of Bobby Labonte for second. Biffle down to the bottom to try and block in front of him. Sadler to the outside as he clears the 18. I see Carl Edwards in the 99. He's in 4th place right now. We'll see if he can get up to where Greg Biffle's at. Mike Bliss right behind him in 5th. Bonnie down on the bottom. Biffle blocking back and forth on the 38 of Sadler. Big runs being created in this pack. Sadler looking wide. Biffle going wide to block off turn 4 as well. 18 car down on the bottom. Biffle to block the inside. Labonte to try and side draft Sadler. Now he clears him in the tri-oval. Mike Bliss is there. 3 wide around Sadler, Edwards, and Bliss for 3rd place entering into turn 1. Labonte on the outside still in front of the 38. And Edwards to the bottom behind the 0 of Bliss. Big run for Mike Bliss, but nowhere to go with it. Biffle making his car extra wide right now. Only lap 16, but he's in dire straits and just trying to hold on to this lead without a teammate directly by him. Bliss clears Labonte. Now Bliss trying to control both lanes from second. It's going to be difficult. Sadler trying to get to the inside. Blood, thanks for tuning in. Mike Bliss again. Yeah, he's trying to keep that top 10 streak alive. 11 straight top 10s for Mike Bliss coming into the race, and that's after a 10th place finish at Speedway Boulevard last night. Can he make it 12 in a row? If he can do that through back-to-back super speedways, considering tonight's race, and then we'll have Talladega in the next race, the UAW Ford 500, that'd be absolutely insane. Bliss into the wall off turn 4. Gordon's going to get by him for second. As a result, Edwards in fourth, trying to get Bliss a little bit of a push on the front stretch again. They're doing a great job, though, trying to hold on to the lead. This car got a little floaty on entry that time into turn 1. Able to get back down to that yellow line to block Gordon, though, in the middle of the corner. And he stays in front of the 24. Top 2 are first and third in points, only 17 points separating them. Gordon looking for 5 bonus points. Biffle trying not to let him through. It was a conservative start from Biffle, but unfortunate bump draft, I guess, with Matt Kenseth costed Kenseth the lead. Biffle up into the wall a little bit. But he holds on to the race lead off turn 4. And he'll pick the bottom right in front of Mike Bliss. I think Gordon's on the outside into the corner. Bliss going up to try and side draft the 24 just a bit. Biffle staying on that yellow line on the bottom of the racetrack right now, and Jeff Gordon looking for the lead off the exit down the back straightaway. Side by side for the lead. Biffle side drafts the 24. Bliss going with the 24. Now back down to the bottom to give Biffle a shot into turn 3. Edwards to the outside. Big block by Biffle as he moves high. He got a little loose. Hangs on to the race car. Oh, Bliss tags the 16. Big save by Greg Biffle off of turn 4 as they head for the tri-oval. And he comes back across the racetrack as the field slowed up. What a save by Biffle. He got clipped by the 0 of Mike Bliss, who I believe got tight off of turn 4. Biffle slid sideways towards the pit entry, got back up onto the racetrack before entering the pits, and he's back to about 8th place. Trying to get this energy back up again, but it's taking him a bit. Kyle Busch going to pull down in front of him in the CarQuest Chevrolet. I mean, Biffle held his line on the outside. Mike Bliss just kind of tagged him in the left rear. Now Bliss leads in front of Jeff Gordon. Biffle tight, didn't lift. This is the first he's been in heavy traffic today, and you can kind of tell as he ended up in the wall. We'll go back to the far chase cam at the start-finish line this next time by. First time Biffle's gotten into the wall today. But now that he's in traffic, the tight conditions of his race car, hold him back just a bit. He's dropping like a rock, though, ever since he lost the lead. He's back to 13th now. Biffle pulling out a line on Earnhardt. Looking to make the pass into turn 1. He's going to get tight. He lifts, and he's in the wall on the outside of the racetrack, and he's getting turned by Earnhardt, who keeps pushing him. And we've got a big pile up. The big one is out in the Pepsi 400. Oh my goodness, we had about 5 or 6 cars flipping off the exit of the corner. They all tried to stop, and then they ended up getting piled into from behind. I mean, Biffle was out of the gas going into the corner, and the car was still going up the racetrack. Had no chance of saving it, And we had probably 6 or more cars just flipping going into turns 1 and 2. The big one is out at Daytona, our first caution of the race. And to the back will go Greg Biffle. Actually, he's not going to go all the way to the back. Everybody else is going to be pitting as well. I don't think Biffle's got too much damage on his car. Try to get this track position back here. Clean air's king, and Biffle's going to get that clean air back. Just pile drove each other. That's pretty much about what happened. I don't think Biffle's got too much damage. He should be all right. Green flag back in the air, lap 26. We'll try it again. And the Pepsi 400. Good launch on the restart for Biffle as well. Edwards restarting in second after winning the race pretty much off of pit road. Biffle's going to have much older tires than everybody else behind him. I would imagine we may see some debris cautions. Biffle back in the lead for now again. Edwards looked to pull low, but Harvick was already there. I don't know what I could have done differently there. I was out of the gas. Honestly, if Mike Bliss didn't about turn me already earlier in the race, and might not have even been in that predicament. Edwards off the wall, and Biffle got a little loose. Ended up in the side of the 99. And Biffle leads that lap at the line. But his tires are definitely shot after that spin. He's looking for track position. I don't think he's going to be able to really hold on to it that much. What a shame. Biffle ran part-time at the beginning of the season in the Cup Series. I'd have to imagine he's going to get very aero loose. Car's hounding him from behind on fresh tires. Edwards looking low, but Biffle with the block down to the bottom stays in front of him. Run by Dale Jarrett up on the outside, who's had a great season thus far. Biffle down to the bottom to block the 99 of Edwards in the tri-oval and holds on to the race lead. We'll go to Carl Edwards in the 99 with our first field pass of the race. Made a little contact with the 88 of Dale Jarrett. We're going to try to keep Biffle in the lead. Edwards trying to block, but he's not really able to. Edwards hanging on to second. His car is a lot looser than Biffle's. At least when Biffle had fresh tires. Biffle's got a tight car. He needs to just hold on to the lead. Keep that clean air. It's where he's going to be at his best. Carl Edwards behind him right now. That's going to help. Tried to give Biffle a bump draft. Kenseth couldn't hang on to one earlier. Edwards going to hit Biffle pretty cleanly, and Biffle on his older tires hanging on to the race car. Teamwork makes the dream work. So back into the two-car tandem with the Roush Fenway Fords. This time it's Biffle and Edwards rather than Kenseth and Biffle. And Biffle's the lead car this time versus it was Kenseth at the start of the race for about a dozen laps before he lost the lead to the 16. Biffle leading quite a few laps. He ended up leading the most laps in the Daytona 500. He's got a fast car today, trying to keep it as clean as possible. Hasn't had the greatest luck of that so far, but they're trying. The bump draft from the 99 to the 16. Off into turn 3 they go. We'll have one more lap with Edwards, then we'll transfer to another Roush Fenway Ford in the field after that. These guys Probably about a second to a second and a half ahead of the rest of the pack. Edwards to push Biffle on the back straightaway a third time in a row. Two teammates working well together, though, I will say that much. And we'll go to Kurt Busch in the 97 car next. Kurt down on the inside. He's in 12th place right now. And in the eye of the storm. A lot of cars around him. Oh, Sadler's in the wall off turn 2, stacking up the field on the back straightaway. We stay green. Big run for Kurt Busch to the back of the 29 of Harvick. Mark Martin stuck on the outside right now. Harvick looking underneath him. I don't know what happened to Sadler back there, but he definitely got tight. Kurt Busch inside the top 10. Underneath his teammate Mark Martin. Harvick up to block the 6, and that gives the bottom open to Kurt Busch, who had a run. Gets by Kevin Harvick. And now rides in line behind Bobby Labonte. Kurt's got a pretty big run. Looking to the outside of Labonte on the back straightaway. He's going to get around him. Quickly to the outside of Dale Jarrett, but his momentum might have broken. Getting into the corner. Jarrett's just crowding the heck out of Kurt Busch right now. Labonte's up into the wall as Kurt tried to get off the wall after he got kind of forced there by the 88 of Dale Jarrett. We've seen some extra aggressive racing so far tonight, I'll tell you that much. Nobody's giving any breaks to those Roush Fenway Fords right now. Biffle still leads the 99 of Edwards. He's going to end up having to pit somewhat soon. Rainer Martinez, thanks for tuning in tonight. Looks like Edwards is looking to get around Greg Biffle for the race lead. If you're just tuning in for the first time, we've had one caution in the first 35 laps of tonight's Pepsi 400, and it was the big one in turns 1 and 2 in the early going of this race. A little over 20 laps in at the time of the wreck. Did not think we were going to have the big one that early, but we've seen a lot of aggressive racing in the pack, and definitely led into that taking place. Biffle's still in the lead. Looks like Edwards was about in the wall going into turns 1 and 2 that time. It's our final lap with Kurt Busch with this first field pass of the race, and then we'll go back to either Mark Martin or Matt Kenseth next. So Thomas, thanks for tuning in. Won the Daytona 500 NASCAR Heat 4 today. Well, congrats. Wish I could win at Daytona. Looks like there's a slow car right now on the front stretch. Harvick looking low underneath Kurt Busch. Busch almost blocked the 29, realized he couldn't. Harvick was already there. And we'll go to Matt Kenseth in the 17 car next. Kenseth way at the back right now. He is all the way in 32nd. So he's lost a lot of ground after qualifying 5th and actually leading the first dozen laps or so at the start of the race. He's 13.7 seconds off the race lead into turn 1 right now at lap 37. And he definitely has some catching up to do, but we'll see if he can do it. He's got a fast race car. Taking it 3 wide off the exit of turn 2. I think Sterling Marlin got in the wall around him not that long ago. Kenseth's got a massive run on the back straightaway, and he's going to give a nice little bump trap to Jeff Green in the 43. And push that 43 car on by. He pushed him a little too far into the corner. He was out of the gas and still had the momentum that got into the back of him and ended up accidentally pushing Green up into the wall. Guess Green held onto it to a certain extent there. Kenseth to 27th. Leader's about to catch a slow car into 3 and 4 this time. A lot of different packs of traffic around the racetrack right now. Kenseth kind of pulling away from that group behind him. And he's barely in the draft of Rusty Wallace in the 2. And the 25 of Brian Vickers down on the bottom. Kenseth drifts back up to the outside middle of the corner. Sadler's lost a lot of track position. He's outside the top 20 as well. Kenseth's got a good run on the 2. Trying to get back down to the bottom. Oh my gosh! What a tight squeeze that was, and it worked. Wow. Gave a little bump draft to the 25 of Brian Vickers, pushed him by, and then ended up 3 wide up the middle to make the passes for position there. Kenseth's up to 23rd. He's rolling. Larry and Jimmy Spencer on the outside. Dives underneath the 1 of Martin Truex Jr. And a push from Spencer. Kenseth's got a rocket ship tonight. I think he's got the fastest car in the field. There's a reason why he led as many laps at the beginning of the race as he did. One more lap with him. Then we'll go to Mark Martin. Corey Freet, thanks for tuning in. Managing the throttle going into the corner. Like Quaffle got a bit tight. Made for an easy pass there for Kenseth. Back straightaway, drops in line behind Tony Stewart. Gonna give Stewart a massive push on the back straightaway now. Scott Riggs is the lap car down to the bottom of the racetrack. Kenseth gonna leave Stewart, go into the inside. Gets by him. Ricky Rudd up on the outside still. Kenseth underneath the 21 car for 19th. Kenseth trying to fight his way through the field, and he's done a great job of it so far. And now to Mark Martin in the 6 we go. He rides in 11th. Oh, Greg Biffle, I think, has an issue. There's a red X over Greg Biffle right now. Has he blown a motor again? There's a car seemingly stopped right now. I don't know what happened. I think Biffle might be out of the race. Greg Biffle has blown an engine in both Daytona races. You have got to be kidding me. I mean, you can't script this. You can't script this. I don't think it's meant to be. We have blown a motor in both Daytona races. That is unbelievable. So Biffle's out. Just over a quarter of the way home. Mark Martin rides in 10th. And we'll keep alternating through the different camera angles, or the different drivers, I guess, for a little bit. I mean, this stinks. We're going to be 0 for 14 at Daytona now. We'll have one more shot this season, but it's going to be a little later in the year. Two more laps with Martin. We might as well get our second field pass out of the way again. I guess 3 wide, a little bit further up towards the front. That next 3-car pack. Ahead of this pack that is now led by Jamie McMurray in the 42. While leading both Daytona races, Greg Biffle was leading in blew an engine. 90 laps to go in the 500. And then tonight, just after lap 40. What do we have to do? What do we have to do to win one of these races? That's going to end the streak of 3 wins in a row as well. So we're going to drive as either Kurt Busch or Matt Kenseth to the end of this race. Once we get the opportunity with one of them. And that is because neither one of those two have won a points race this season. Kurt Busch hasn't won a race of any kind. So we'll try to get another different winner this year, but man, what a tough break. Carl Edwards is the race leader right now. He does have 1 win in his rookie season so far. Mark Martin's got 2 wins this year. Both on road courses at Watkins Glen and then the Talladega road course as well. 4 DNFs for Greg Biffle already in the season. For 14 races. Had an 11.6 average finish coming into the night. Not bad. Within championship contention. Down the back straightaway. Martin to the outside of the 42 of Jamie McMurray. Look at the run by Mark Martin. Slingshots his way to the bottom of Kevin Harvick. And he's up to 9th and still carrying that speed in the draft behind the 5 of Kyle Busch. Little bump draft on Kyle, who hangs on to it. 46.835, fastest lap of the race that last time. For Mark Martin. So he bump drafts Kyle Busch all the way into the corner. That did not work. Martin's across the racetrack. He spins, cautions out. And accidentally spammed through the replay. Well, caution flag is out anyway there. And that is our second wreck of the race. I was not trying to bump draft him all the way into the corner. I was trying to get off of him. I ended up turning him, and then I got sideways. And we will punish ourselves. If you guys are wondering why I'm not pit for fuel or tires during my my wrecks, I'm going back to the original strategy of not doing that. I caused an accident, so... Back into the pits goes Mark Martin. Heavy damage on this race car. So he'll be towards the back. Green flag is back in the air at lap 51. Luckily, everybody was able to miss the spinning 6-car of Martin up on the outside. And he is definitely going to be back in traffic right now. We'll go to Kurt Busch in the 97 car next. Trying to get up to speed as he rides in 6th. Carl Edwards with a pretty good restart at the front of the field. Gordon with a nice little push on the outside. Oh, Matt Kenseth, I think, has dropped an engine on the restart. 2 Roush Fenway Fords have blown motors. If Kenseth's out, something happened to him. Kurt Busch trying to get by Jeff Gordon. Can't do it. Hang on to 5th. So we're going to try to win the race as Kurt Busch, I think, is going to be the strategy plan here. So we are going to try to win this race as Kurt Busch. It's going to blow by Jeff Gordon and Ryan Newman on the back straightaway. And he's definitely going to be close enough to draft behind the 8 of Dale Jr. in second, so Kurt's up to third. Nice little run on Earnhardt. 46.833, fastest lap for any Roush car so far tonight from Kurt Busch that last lap. 2 cautions, 53 laps of racing so far tonight. And our streak, unfortunately, of winning at Daytona will continue. 0 for 14 for myself on the EA Sports games with Greg Biffle blowing an engine at both Daytona races so far this season. Kurt squeezing to the outside of Dale Jr. Kurt Busch has not led a lap yet in this race, but he's got a massive run into turn 3. Looks towards the outside. His run faded. Earnhardt didn't go with him. And Edwards holds on to the race lead off turn 4. Kurt Busch hasn't won a race yet this season. Be the 4th different Roush car, the 5 to win. He's going for the lead in turn 1 on Carl Edwards. Easily going to be able to clear and clear high as he pulls up in front of the 99. So Kurt Busch out in front in the Pepsi 400. See if the Red Wings can keep their win streak alive tonight. I'm hoping the Canadians aren't that great. They beat him already once this year. Might as well take our second field pass of the race today. Oh, I'll actually wait a little bit. 5 bonus points for Kurt Busch, finally leading his first lap of the evening. 3rd different Roush car to lead already. I think Biffle's going to end up with the last place finish. I don't think anybody was out of the race before him, unfortunately. Edwards getting a nice little run to the outside. Kurt trying to go a little bit lower to make sure that Edwards wasn't going to side draft him into the corner. And Edwards going to have to pull in line between Kurt Busch and Dale Jr. Edwards fell back a spot to the hands of Dale Jr., who's now up to P2. So you're up towards that outside lane. Edwards back underneath him. Newman, Gordon side by side for 4th in this lead pack. Everybody in the field has pitted once so far today. Nobody has pitted a second time. It was that first caution where everybody pitted. Nobody has made any green flag stops this evening. Quarter of a tank of gas left for Kurt Busch right now. Edwards to the outside, but he got into the wall off turn 2. Decent momentum still out of Edwards, but it stalled him out enough to keep from taking the lead. And Kurt Busch is going to hold clear into turn 3 with Ryan Newman behind him. A lot of cars down on that inside lane. Nobody really with the 99 of Edwards. Edwards in the wall again. It looked like briefly off turn 4. Newman comes into the pits that time. We're going to start some green flag pit stops at lap 57, it appears. I'm honestly fine with taking right sides. Because it does feel like Kurt Busch's car has more grip than both Kenseth, Edwards, and Biffle at least. Mark Martin had similar grip to Kurt Busch, but definitely feels like this car is not as tight or loose compared to the 16, the 99, the 17. Mike Bliss up to second place right now. Kurt Busch still in the lead. Kurt hanging on in that 97 car. I haven't played Heat Evolution since Heat 2 came out. A lot more cars coming into the pits that time off turn 4. Kurt's just really trying to control the lanes. Doesn't matter whether he's got a teammate or a non-teammate in the inside or outside. He's trying to keep this track position, hold on to the lead, just like Greg Biffle was trying to earlier. Eighth of a tank of fuel left for Kurt Busch. We're going to have some cars going a lap down on the apron of the racetrack. Heading towards turn 1 right now. If we get a caution, the middle of green flag stops. This guys will be a lap down. Down to 100 laps to go in tonight's Pepsi 400 at Daytona. Watching and listening live here on KRC. Got some cars fighting for the bottom of the racetrack. Edwards going to bring some cars into the pits behind him. Kurt Busch will hold on to the lead. Kenseth is in the pits as well this time by. Down to 99 laps to go. The 5 car going a lap down. It turns 1 and 2 now. A lot of lap cars up ahead. Kurt Busch in that 97. They're going to go down the track trying to not side draft, but trying to draft off the 1 of Martin Truex Jr. That left the top open for Mike Bliss, though. Into the corner, turns 3 and 4. Kurt Busch stays on the inside. He's got help, but I think those guys are going to pit behind him. And Mike Bliss back to the lead off of turn 4. So Bliss out in front of the field once again. Busch going to try to get another crack at it. Going to the outside of the racetrack with that massive run. Bliss not going to be able to block. Kurt wants to move to the inside. It is barely clear of the 0. And Kurt Busch is back in the lead again on that yellow line on the inside of the racetrack. Well, contact off turn 4 up ahead of Kurt Busch. Some lap cars getting together. We stay green, though. I think it was Bobby Labonte who got squeezed into the wall. Looks like the 18. Kind of hard to tell from this far back. Mike Bliss just pitted from second. Wimmer going to go a lap down in the 22. Kurt willing to stay out as long as he can, knowing he's going to go for 2 tires. Kurt drafted off Nemechek real quick. Down the line, he's got the 41 of Casey Mears closing in. Gonna stay out of the pits one more lap, and then lap 65 is going to be when Kurt Busch will pit. Kurt way up the track, trying to block Casey Mears. That didn't work. That car swing out maybe a little too far wide. one more lap with Kurt here. Want to lift in line behind Casey Mears. Mears really pinching that 97 down on the track, but Kurt's going to be able to clear the 41. I'll have to crowd him just a bit. And back towards the bottom. Kurt Busch going to pit this time off turn 4. He's going to make sure he doesn't lock those tires up, because he is going to be taking right sides only, and easily gets down to pit road speed that time. Made it look easy at least. So 4 tires and fuel for Kurt Busch, and it's going to be right side tires only, no adjustments on the 97 car. Briscoe Fan 55, thanks for tuning in. First green flag stop of the day for Busch. And again, if you're just tuning in, we're racing as Kurt Busch because our driver Greg Biffle is blowing an engine, so our winless streak at Daytona will continue. We'll be 0 for 14 now. Mark Martin still on the track. He's the last car yet to hit pit road. He'll lead his first lap of the race now. So it'll be 5 bonus points for him. And Kurt Busch here in the 97 car. On the apron, trying to get up to speed with this 2-tire stop. And Martin will be coming in this time. It's going to be a decent-sized lead for Kurt Busch. He's getting up to speed right now, entering into 3 and 4. The only Roush car not to lead any laps today so far, if I'm not mistaken, was Mark Martin until he just led right there. So all 5 Roush cars have led at least 1 lap. We'll go 1 more lap with Kurt, and then we'll take our second and final field pass of the evening. A little under a 2-second lead for Busch right now. So he was able to gap the field. It tells me that everybody else took 4 tires. He took 2. Grip matters at Daytona, but these Roush cars have had a lot of horsepower today too. Trying to get that extra track position, even though he was already in the lead. And we'll transfer over to the 99 of Carl Edwards next. Edwards currently in 5th. I think he's a little bit too far behind Dale Jarrett to try to draft behind the 88. 2.6 to 2.7 seconds off the lead is Edwards. I believe he is the second highest running Roush Fenway Ford on the racetrack right now. He's not quite in the draft to keep up with the cars ahead of him. Have to wait for this 4-car group behind him to pick him up, and have to try to draft with one of them. Start a diecast series. What year should you do? I'm trying to think of like what year most of my diecasts are from. I feel like I have a lot from like 2002, 2003. Casey Kane in the 9 looking to the outside. Carl Edwards. Edwards staying down in front of rookie Kyle Busch. Edwards way too low going into the corner. I mean, I don't even know what I did there. That was a mental error. And upside down, I believe, goes the 42 of Jamie McMurray. My goodness, what a wild ride for him. I feel so terrible about that. I don't know what I was doing there. That was just a lack of concentration, really. I have no clue why I was even that low. McMurray went for a tumble down the infield. And the rear of Carl Edwards' race car is absolutely torn to pieces. And that's the third Roush car to have wrecked in tonight's race now. I don't even know how I did that. Third caution tonight, and all 3 wrecks have been from Roush Fenway Fords. Green flag back in the air at lap 73. Kurt Busch's big lead is now gone. Edwards gets by Dale Jarrett quickly, throws a block on him going into the corner. And back down to the bottom, caution's out for debris, I believe, off the back bumper of Carl Edwards' race car, our 4th caution of the race. Yeah, that was definitely a lack of concentration. You see that piece of debris flying away. I'm sure there's quite a few other cars with severe damage other than Edwards, so we might see some more debris cautions. Got by 1 car in the restart right before that caution came out. And we'll try it again. Rookie mistake, yeah. Rookie mistake from Carl Edwards. I don't know how I did that. That looked very dumb of me. Green flag back in the air again, lap 77. And best bet for Edwards, he gets by another car, and then we get another quick caution. Who knows? Gets by Johnson for 3rd. And he sits right behind Ryan Newman. Dale Jarrett pulling to the inside of Jimmy Johnson as well. It's taken quite a while, though, for Edwards with this damage to try and get up to speed. So he tries to block on the back straightaway. Oh, 3 wide. I didn't realize Casey Kane was down on the bottom. And we have second-year driver Casey Kane up to 3rd. Johnson in the wall on the outside of the racetrack. Quickly in line behind him is Carl Edwards. As Kyle Busch goes up the middle 3 wide right behind Edwards. Clears the 42 car. And there is too much damage on the 99 of Edwards right now, and he is struggling to try to keep up with the cars in front of him. Going to squeak by Edwards. Caution is out again. Probably more debris, I'd have to imagine, from somebody else in the field, and that is our 5th caution. Can't tell who that's off of. Mike Bliss in the Zero's got some heavy damage. And his 11 straight top 10s is going to be in danger of not being there again tonight. Well, we'll try it again. Lack of comprehension. Yeah, a little bit of both. And we're just past halfway now. Lap 82. Green flag back in the air again. Following a couple of debris cautions we've seen. Edwards trying to get a spot back on the 88 of Dale Jarrett. He's going to be able to do so. At least initially, but I mean, he just does not have the speed back in this 99 car. He got hit pretty hard from behind. Oh, McMurray is going to take out Edwards on the back straightaway. After McMurray flipped, he now decides to try and take Edwards out. As he hooks him, Edwards able to lock it down. And the grass keeps from hitting that inside retaining wall. Murray ended up down to the grass as well. I'm surprised McMurray's still in this race after flipping. And that'll be caution number 6. Yeah, McMurray's not too happy with Carl Edwards. Everybody's staying out during all these yellows. Trying to keep their track position. Green flag back in here again. Lap 86. We'll try it again. Stuck as Carl Edwards through this field pass. Big block by Jimmy Johnson. He saw the 99 coming. After Edwards split up the Hendrick Chevys of Kyle Busch and Jimmy Johnson that time. Watch out for Jamie McMurray in this 42 car. Edwards trying to block him. He doesn't want any part of Jamie McMurray after McMurray already turned him on the back straightaway. Problem is, McMurray gets up underneath the 99 car. I think he might try to turn him anyway. The corner 3 wide. As they try to get around Edwards to the outside. McMurray gets by to the top. Edwards starting to drop like a rock again as he's back to 9th. Trying to get 2 more laps in with the 99 before we transfer to another Roush Fenway Ford in the field. We still have to drive. Wow, that was a big loose moment. Quite a bit of air loose there from the 15 of Michael Waltrip that time. Edwards is able to keep it off the 38 of Sadler on the outside as he fishtails again off the exit of turn 2. And this 99 car is just way too damaged. As he lifts quite a bit going into turn 3, just trying to not be 3 wide middle and cause another wreck. We've seen enough wrecks already. This is sad to see. It's not been a good night for the Roush Fenway Fords other than Kurt Busch currently, who is in the lead. A lot of 3 wide racing still going on behind Edwards yet. A lot of lane changing going on with it. We'll transfer to the 6 car of Mark Martin at the start-finish line. Edwards 3 wide middle, hooks the 10, and then ends up hooking the 2. I think he missed the pit road wall there. Got a little loose off turn 4, unfortunately. And Edwards going to go around now. I couldn't tell if he... Oh, well, kind of glitched into the wall with the front of his car. I don't think he hit the back of his car into the wall, though. It's kind of hard to tell. He might have missed it. Well, it looks like everybody's going to be hitting pit road this time. I might as well pit with Edwards. I won't get him too far off strategy. This car is obviously severely hurt with the damage. He's going to lose some spots, I would have to imagine, repairing the damage. Cautions breeding cautions. Now, we only had 2 through about the first 60-plus laps of the race, but now we've had quite a few of them back to back to back. We are now at 7 cautions. A little bit of a mishap on pit road there. It's the 3rd pit stop of the night for all these teams, so it's looking like a 4-stop race. Should have to pit 1 more time yet before the finish. Kurt Busch going to get 4 tires back on his car again. Slow stop on the 23 team. 99 team, rather. 23-second stop. Kurt Busch still in the lead as he won the race off of pit road. Looks like Mark Martin had a pretty good pit stop. Cycles out pretty far up ahead. And the green flag is back in the air at Daytona with 68 laps to go in the Pepsi 400. Edwards back in 18th on the restart. Once we get a lap into the restart, we will transfer to Mark Martin in the 6. Oh, Labonte up into the wall into turn 1. I don't know what happened there. Edwards pulled down in front of him going into the corner. Labonte, I mean, they weren't even up to speed yet, so I don't think he really got tight. Edwards actually to stay in the draft this time around. We'll have from Ricky Rudd in the 21. It's underneath Jeremy Mayfield. And now under Travis Quaffle for 15th. So to Mark Martin in the 6th car we go. Martin rides in 9th right now behind rookie Martin Truex Jr. Caution back in the pack going into turns 1 and 2. Something has happened back there, and our 8th caution of the race is out. Another caution at a restart. What happened? I mean, they were all slow, and then Scott Riggs ended up into the back of somebody and about spun out. Boris said, I think Labonte was slow or something, and he was slowing up the pack, and Boris said got ran into from behind. So we have yet another caution flag. Whether it's me or not, I mean, we're seeing everybody wreck. I think I just saw Jamie McMurray's up to 2nd after flipping earlier. Green flag back in the air, lap 98 now. 63 to go in the Pepsi 400 following caution number 8. Martin trying to get up to speed quickly here. Got to the inside of Martin Truex Jr. and Ryan Newman for that matter. I doubt Martin's going to be able to clear the 12 also. He's trying. Not quite there yet. McMurray did not take off well in the restart that time. Martin to block Truex. I can't believe Jimmy Spencer's in the top 10 right now in that 50 car. Derek Cope's own team. Martin struggling to keep up with that lead pack. Truex off the wall, off turn 4. Spencer gets around him for 9th. I don't think we've seen Jimmy Spencer in the top 10 ever on this game. But he is right now. I think Martin's going to have to let him go for 8th, it looks like. Unless McMurray slows these cars up ahead just a little bit with the damage to his car. It's finally starting to fade. Martin trying to keep up. Just barely in the draft of Ryan Newman, but Spencer not really fast enough behind him to really give Martin the pushes he needs to really get up here. Caution. That'll help. Off turn 4, another crash. Our 9th yellow of the race. The cautions are breeding cautions, and it looks like it's actually debris off Carl Edwards' race car. And that is not from the damage that Edwards had in an accident before, because we actually repaired that when we pitted during the, a couple cautions ago. We pitted as Edwards, so he ended up getting more damage, I think. After that last accident, his hood will fly off. So our 3rd debris caution of the night, our 9th caution total, will set up for another restart in the Pepsi 400 at Daytona. Laps ticking away under caution, not getting as many green flag laps in here. Martin to the inside of McMurray quickly. Got around him for 7th, looking for Newman for 6th. Oh, McMurray into the wall now. Similar to Labonte earlier going into turn 1 on the restart. Jimmy Spencer got around the 42. Martin trying to keep up with Ryan Newman in the 12. Jimmy Spencer not really giving the 6 enough of a push. Martin going to let Spencer go off of turn 4. Martin lifting, so we'll pull back in line behind Truex. Jimmy Spencer is up to 7th right now in the Pepsi 400 at Daytona. A bump draft in the back of Truex into turn 1. I think Spencer kind of bottlenecked everybody up there. No wreck that time. Lap and a half more with Martin. As long as we stay green long enough, we'll swap to Kenseth for about 5 laps. And then remember, we're finishing this race as Kurt Busch after Greg Biffle blew an engine earlier on. Chica Fuwara, hopefully I said your last name correctly. Thanks for tuning in. Waverton Gerald, thanks for tuning in also. This little run in the trioval from Martin, going underneath Martin Truex. Gets around him, he's lifting to let Jimmy Spencer back in line on the inside so he can have somebody in front of him still, because I don't think Martin's as fast of a lead car as, say, Matt Kenseth of the other Roush cars was earlier. Harvick closing in behind Martin, trying to give him a push. And we'll see if Martin can clear Truex, and he finally does. Trying to give Jimmy Spencer a little push. And we'll swap back to Matt Kenseth at the start-finish line this time by. And we'll have just 55 laps to go in the Pepsi 400. Contact on turn 4. Truex and Harvick nearly go around back there. We almost had another wreck. Back to Kenseth we go. And he got stalled out behind both of those cars that were sideways. Another slow car on the apron up here as well. Oh, and it's Mark Martin. Something happened to Martin after that swap. This race is nutty all of a sudden. It wasn't like this until Greg Biffle blew an engine, and now everything is just going hectic. There was problems behind Martin, then there was problems with Martin. Now there's trouble off turn 4 again as Rusty Wallace makes contact with Scott Riggs. Wallace nearly goes for another spin today. He saved it enough to not bring out the caution. We stay green as Kenseth rides in 19th. And I think the only Roush car in the top 10 right now is Kurt Busch in the lead. Biffle's out. He blew an engine. Edwards was involved in a wreck earlier. So was Kenseth. See the damage on the left rear corner panel of Kenseth's car from earlier. Still showing decent speed. Powers to the inside of Dale Jarrett. Trying to draft with the 11 of Jason Leffler. Barely clears Bobby Labonte off turn 4. Labonte and Leffler teammates at JGR. Kenseth in line behind the 11. 3 more laps with Kenseth, and then we'll go back to Kurt Busch for the rest of the race. And this pack got split up big time on that last restart. We saw nearly 3 accidents within those first 3 laps after the restart. And we're still 1 pit stop out from the finish of this race yet as well. Two more laps with Kenseth. So with 50 laps to go, we'll go back to Kurt Busch for the rest of the race and try to get him his first win of the season. And even though Greg Biffle has 6 wins this year, Martin has 2. Everybody else with a win has 1, so we've actually seen quite a few different winners. Kenseth led laps very early in the day. As he bump drafts Jason Leffler on the back straightaway now. There's 1 car that the 11 and the 17 might catch before this next lap is up. That would be whoever the 15th place car is. Trevor, thanks for tuning in. Yeah, Trevor Grimes, thanks for watching, man. Welcome back. Kenseth about 9.8 seconds off the lead right now. Look at the bump draft. Jason Leffler a little bit more again. All the way into turn 3, he pushes him. Sitting about 9.7 back, almost 9.6. Busch still in the lead though. to Kurt Busch for the rest of the race we go. He's got a big lead. He's about 1.2 seconds ahead right now with 50 laps left. We still have to alternate through the different camera angles one more time in today's race, so we'll do that at the start-finish line this time by as well. 49 laps to go for Kurt Busch to try to win the Pepsi 400 at Daytona. And at least try to get a Roush car yet another win this season. He'd be the fourth of the 5 Roush cars to win a points race. And Kenseth, who doesn't have a points win, did win at Daytona in his dual race earlier this season. Kurt Busch definitely has the best car in the field. Yeah, I would have said it was Kenseth, but he's been in a wreck now, so I would probably think it's Kurt Busch. He's probably been the cleanest of the Roush cars so far today. Kyle Busch in second place, trying to get a run behind his brother. Kurt Busch up the block just a little bit as he leads this lap at the line. So the Busch brothers run 1-2 at Daytona. And there's no teammates around Kurt right now, so he's going to go to the outside. He's going to let his brother Kyle Busch go, who has not led at all yet today. He'll drop in line behind him. And the Busch brothers are going to work together at Daytona in hopes that it stays green to the end of the race. But with the 9 cautions we've seen already, I doubt it's going to stay green to the end. You just never know. So the Busch brothers are going to work together here. That's going to split up the Hendrick Chevys too, because Kyle Busch had his teammate Jimmy Johnson right behind him in third. Not going to be the case anymore. Super Busch brothers. Always loved this Irwin Tools paint scheme. I actually have a die cast of it. Even the ones that Christopher Bell's ran a couple times in recent years as well. Blue and gold colors, those are always my favorite on a race car. Busch on the bump draft to Kyle Busch on the back straightaway. Sends him off into turn 3. Talk about these two trying to settle it amongst themselves right now. Brothers being brothers and working together. I think Kurt had as much of a lead as he had when we first went back to him because of the bump trap there from Kurt Busch to Kyle Busch. Shot that 5 car way out in front of him. He stays in the draft, though. Yeah, NASCAR 07 is going to be the next classic game playthrough once we get through the NASCAR 06 stuff on the channel. Obviously still playing our NASCAR 22 season on the side as well. That fuel window's probably going to open up in about another 6 or 7 laps to make it to the end of the race, maybe even before that. You might see some drivers pitting. And we'll have to see when exactly both of these Busch brothers are going to end up hitting pit road. 46.789 that last lap for Kurt Busch. It was his fastest lap of the race. And I think the fastest of any Roush car so far tonight. Kurt lifted going into the corner after giving Kyle Busch a bump draft. That's how big of a run this 97 car had. Hopefully, he could stay with him. I think he'll be able to. I don't think Kurt's going to lose Kyle at all here. He will not. So even though they got side by side, Kurt Busch was able to lift and hop right back in line behind him again. I think they're side by side for the lead again. On the back straightaway, heading towards turns 3 and 4. And Kurt Busch is actually going to clear Kyle Busch. He had a major run off of turn 2. So Kurt going to lead this lap at the line, and now Kyle Busch is going to be the one to push him. Oh, Kurt up into the wall. That's the second time I've had a lapse of concentration tonight. Definitely going to slow these two cars down just a little bit again. It's like Jimmy Johnson in third, start close back in. I think Kurt's better as the push car than the lead car. I know I made that mistake. That definitely bogged down the momentum a little bit, still. So Kurt going to go back to the outside into turns 3 and 4. Try to stay in the gas, so let his brother Kyle underneath him to take the lead a second time. Kyle is going to be clear off turn 4. Kurt going to get that run off the high side and in the draft. Ryan Newman, Jimmy Johnson trying to work together in 3rd and 4th to catch the two out in front. But the 97 and the 5 going to get organized again. And again, they'll stay together now with just 40 laps to go in the Pepsi 400 at Daytona. Kyle Busch trying to get his first career win. And in his rookie season, can be the first driver to win for Hendrick Motorsports in what is already the 14th race of this custom scheduled Cup Series season. We've won a few races with him in the Busch Series already. On that season, Kyle trying to get a Cup win. Shoving Kyle all the way down the backstretch, really trying to get these two cars further out again. Honestly, just really hoping Kyle stays out to the end of the fuel run at this point. How spread apart the field is right now. 46.661 that last lap for Kurt Busch, about a 10th quicker than his previous fastest lap of the race. You guys are hauling the mail. Late at Daytona. Oof. That push kind of knocked the 97 a little sideways. He ended up scraping the wall a bit on the outside. We'll go back to the far chase cam for the rest of the race at the start-finish line this time by. And we are down to just 37 to go. Quarter tank of gas left. Not seeing anybody pit this time by. Everybody stays out again. Oh, and Kyle nearly got turned. He's going up the track. He's in the wall. And the bump drafting did not work out that time for the Busch brothers. Johnson to second. Newman to third. And the big lead for both the 5 and the 97 is gone. Kurt Busch back out in front with another lead change. Looks like Kyle's going to be back at 4th by the time he's going to try to get his momentum back. Johnson with a major run. Getting a great shot from the 12 of Newman. And now Kurt Busch having to block for his life on a Chevy and a Dodge. Big loose moment there for Kurt off of the exit of the corner. Got a little air loose from the 12. Ethan, thanks for tuning in. Yeah, unfortunately, Biffle blew an engine. 3 of my 4 DNFs have been because of engine failures. Not really a lot I can do. And 2 of them at Daytona, unfortunately. Johnson may have gotten into the wall off the outside of turn 4. Newman going to easily clear for second. 35 laps to go in the Pepsi 400, but it is on now. Mark Martin into pit, quite a few cars behind him also in. Now that window's definitely open to the end of the race with 35 to go now that we see drivers pitting for the final time. .48 to 12 side drafted each other enough on the back straightaway. No push from behind to help them get by the 97. And Johnson got in the wall again. Getting tight off of turn 4. Newman again back into second. Kurt Busch has just clinched the most laps led now. Big block by Busch on Newman. Busch holds on to the lead. Quite a few cars going a lap down on the bottom of the track. Johnson back in line behind the 12. Busch pulling out of line to try and get a little bit of an extra draft off Ricky Rudd in the 21. As he slings by him on the outside into 3 and 4. Rudd, I think, pulled across the front of the 48. Johnson into pit anyway, as well as quite a few cars behind him. Newman and Busch stay out. 33 to go. Kurt Busch has led the most laps tonight in the Pepsi 400 at Daytona. Newman just got in the wall into turn 1. Ricky Rudd, the 21 car, to the outside on fresher tires. Kurt down low to block Newman. That's for position. Kurt's actually going to stay in front of the 21 car into turn 3. But no drafting help for Rudd to work with, both in front and behind him. Newman clears the 21. He's got the 97 for himself again. Mike Bliss, Casey Kane, Travis Quaffle going a lap down. Newman gonna pit. Couple cars that are already pitted of Tony Stewart, Ricky Rudd behind Kurt Busch. Busch leads yet another lap, down to 31 to go. Stewart in the 20. Be the first one to catch the 97 race leader, Kurt Busch. Busch going to go to the outside. He's going to let Stewart go. And actually, Stewart is the leader. Never mind. I thought Tony Stewart pitted already. He did not. So Tony Stewart's now going to get to the lead. Kurt Busch going to sit behind him. Tony Stewart going to pit this time by. Kurt will stay out one more. Oh, man, he was going to stay out. Now he'll pit. Tony Stewart back across the racetrack. I think he saved it. I don't know if he ended up actually making it into the pits or not. It's going to be 4 tires and fuel for Kurt Busch. No adjustments. That had to have cost him time. Caution's out. Caution is out, but Kurt Busch is already on pit road, and I believe he is going to be the leader. Wow, that went from an unlucky break to a lucky break in the snap of your fingers. 10th caution of the race is out after Kurt Busch already hit the commitment line, so he is going to be good to make this 4-tire stop. And he should be the leader on the restart. We'll see what the caution was out for. Oh, this was trouble somewhere else around the track. And it was not Tony Stewart because it was in the middle of turns 3 and 4. And it looked like Mike Bliss is wrecked. Might have gotten some help from Scott Riggs. Riggs got hit from behind as well from, looked like the 08 of Shane Meal. What a lucky caution there for Kurt Busch. I knew Stewart was going to pit that time with how low he ran going into turn 3, but I thought I was high enough out of the way to miss him. Luckily, the 20 and the 97 were able to get to the pits, and luckily they're still going to be in the lead. Kurt will be the leader on the restart. Stewart will be second. Green flag back in the air. Lap cars on the bottom of the track. Ryan Newman, Jason Leffler. Newman clears the 97. Busch goes back up the middle, 3 wide between the 11 and the 12. And he clears Newman into the corner. And he's got his teammate Mark Martin directly behind him. And with just 26 laps to go, it's going to be a race for the finish. Martin making contact. It's going to stack up the inside line. I don't know how that ended up happening, but I think Mark Martin got a bit tight. I don't know that he got tight just because they weren't up to speed yet, but one way or another, he ended up making contact with Busch, who was already on the outside. Really nowhere for him to go. And we're down to just 25 laps to go in the Pepsi 400 at Daytona. Cars are up to speed now after the restart. Tony Stewart in second. To the inside of lap car Ryan Newman, who's trying to get back on the lead lap in case we have a late yellow. At the very least, try to stay in that free pass position. Busch down low to block Stewart. Busch is just trying to hold on to the clean air at this point, because if it's anything like Greg Biffle earlier, you lose that clean air and the handling really goes away on these Roush Fenway Fords. And Kurt's led the most laps today. Trying to seal the deal with a win. Tony Stewart looking bad fast late in this race, though, too. What a terrible timing caution for Newman to be a lap down on the restart, too. After literally battling for the lead with Busch before he pitted a couple laps before the caution came out. See Joe Nemechek up here as well, Kenny Wallace, but I'm not sure who's all on the lead lap and who is a lap down. And we've got trouble off of turn 2, and this is going to stack the field up yet again. Our 11th caution of the race tonight in the Pepsi 400. And we got looks like debris on the back straightaway from Scott Riggs. Riggs had ran into the back of Bliss, who had wrecked maybe off the front bumper of Scott Riggs' race car as well during that last caution. So debris off Riggs' car, our 4th debris caution of the night during the 11 cautions we've had total. And Kurt Busch going to have to try to survive yet another restart. And we're going to have probably 19 or 20 to go this time around. Nemechek lap down. I believe Newman got the free pass. Green flag back in the air. 20 laps to go in the Pepsi 400 at Daytona. Nemechek going to slide high right in front of the 97 and Kurt Busch. Busch doesn't really have anywhere to go. So he just bump drafts him off into turn 1. And Nemechek's going to hold on to the lead lap. He wasn't in 4th gear when he bump drafted him. Almost kind of stalled out the 97. Able to stay low. Kenny Wallace back on the lead lap now. Leffler almost got back to the inside of the 97, but he's still a lap down as he battles Casey Mears. Leffler on the bottom of the racetrack right now. Casey Mears up high. 3 wide off of turn 4. Kurt Busch, the leader, trying to hold on. Luckily, it's the lap car splitting around him, and a caution is out again as Busch had about a half a car length ahead of Stewart. Caution's out with 19 to go. Trouble off turn 4. Terry Labonte has crashed now. At the very tail end of the field. Like him and, I don't know. It looked like he just kind of wrecked on his own there. Maybe got tight off turn 4. Oscar Ramirez Herrera, thanks for tuning in. We have yet another late race restart following our 12th caution. Again, Busch barely surviving these restarts right now. Yeah, Tony Stewart won the Daytona 500. You're right, he is trying to win the Pepsi 400 as well. It's the only win for Stewart so far this season. He led a lot of laps at Talladega as well earlier in the spring. Flag back in the air. Remember, we do have 3 races at Daytona, so it's going to be a lot harder to get the sweep. It's already hard enough to win 2 Daytona races in 1 year. Much better restart that time from Kurt Busch. Clears the 49 of Kenny Schrader. Quickly gets to the bottom of the track. And will we have our final restart this time around, or are we going to get yet a 13th caution before the finish? Oh, Meal down to the bottom. Taking it 3 wide to get his lap back. 141 going to get back on the lead lap as well. Kurt Busch on the inside of the racetrack trying to hang on. 3 wide. There's contact off of turn 4. How did they not wreck there? Right behind Kurt Busch. That took place with some lap cars. 49 of Schrader kind of got squeezed up into the outside wall. McMurray with a big run. I'm not sure if he's on the lead lap or not. Remember, McMurray flipped earlier in the race. The 141 going to go a lap down now. And Kurt Busch rides behind Shane Meal in the 08. Looking to get around him down to the bottom of the racetrack. Kurt trying to get back to the lead in this pack. Meal on the outside. Not going to be cleared. McMurray going to go to the top behind Meal. Caution again as McMurray got to within a half a car length of Busch before Busch able to hold on to the lead. Off turn 4, another crash. And it looks like a couple Roush cars get together of Carl Edwards and Matt Kenseth. And Kenseth goes for a spin into the grass in the tri-oval. Edwards still without a hood from earlier. These guys are driving like maniacs at the back of the pack right now. Luckily that didn't turn into anything worse, but we now have 13 cautions in the race. And we're going to have less than 10 to go in the restart, so I do believe all the lap cars will be behind the lead lap cars this time. Maybe not. Maybe not. Yep, McMurray is in second. He is on the lead lap. Stewart fell back to 4th on the restart. Johnson up to 3rd. And the green flag is back in the air. 11 laps to go, so that's why we are still double file. Kurt Busch has survived on the restart so far. That's actually giving less green flag laps for everybody else to try to get around him. And another good restart for Kurt Busch as he gets around the lap cars initially of Schrader and Green. And they had a massive stack up going into turns 1 and 2 back there because you can look, there's very few cars that are still ahead of Kurt Busch. Johnson to the inside of the 42 of McMurray. McMurray going to pull in line behind Johnson. Now Busch will time it to go to the bottom in front of the 48. He's not worried too much about Schrader and Green on the outside, although Tony Stewart's that 3rd car in line on the top. And we definitely know he's on the lead lap. Johnson up high to try and block the 49. barely was able to do so. McMurray to the bottom. Kyle Busch, if he is on the lead lap, has a shot to win his first career race. 10 to go in the Pepsi 400 at Daytona. McMurray trying to get his second career win. He goes a bit wide into turn one, and Kyle Busch is up to second right behind his brother Kurt. Johnson, Busch trying to get their first win for Hendrick Motorsports this season. That organization has gone winless through the first 13 races. And Tony Stewart, who won the Daytona 500. I don't even know that he's led a lap yet today, but he's been up in contention for a large portion of the second half of the race. Busch barely clear with a block on his brother to the bottom of the racetrack. Will Kyle Busch go with his brother, or will he go with his teammate Jimmy Johnson, who's behind him, if given the opportunity? Bobby Labonte in that green number 18 Interstate Battery Chevrolet has a teammate with him as well, but I'm not sure if Labonte's on the lead lap or not. Johnson on the inside of Kyle Busch. Can't go with his teammate with McMurray up on the outside, but he gave Kurt a great shot in the back straightaway. And Kurt's going to hold on to the lead into turns 3 and 4. Johnson might have scraped the wall off turn 4. Tony Stewart the second. He's won a lot of Pepsi 400s in his career. He's looking for another. Not mistaken, I think he actually did win the Pepsi 400 in 05. Have to correct me if I'm wrong. The defending champion Kurt Busch against the actual champion in 2005, Tony Stewart. Busch, of course, the 04 champ. We'll have 7 laps to go this time by. Kurt trying to get his first win of the season. If Labonte's on the lead lap, then Tony Stewart's the only car in the top 5 that has a win so far this year. Daytona, obviously a place where we can see a new winner anytime you come here on the Cup schedule, no matter what year it is. And in this custom schedule season, that is the case as well. Labonte up near the wall on the outside, McMurray right behind him. Tony Stewart doesn't really have a lot of help to try to get a run on the 97 of Kurt Busch, who holds on to the lead. Stewart to the outside, Busch to block. Busch knows he's going to have to make this car extra wide. Stewart in the wall off 4. Johnson to second. Down on the inside. Kyle Busch still sitting in 4th, 6 to go. And if we get yet another yellow with 5 or less laps to go in the race could end under caution, as we've seen a few times already this season. Stewart back to P2, or at least battling with it underneath the 48. Kurt Busch just kind of been mirror driving this whole time. Kyle in 4th. He's on the outside with his teammate Jimmy Johnson. Lurks to the bottom. Oh, Kurt Busch! No, he hits the apron! And he is going to cost himself a lot of time. Oh my gosh. Another mental error from a Roush driver today. And this time it was from Kurt Busch. 5 to go. He falls all the way back to 5th, right in line behind the 42 of Jamie McMurray. God bless America. Tony Stewart to the lead. It's not over yet. Especially if the top 3 really get to racing. But that's going to have to be the hope, is that they really get to racing. If Kurt Busch and Jamie McMurray from 1.3 seconds off the lead are going to have a chance with 4 to go. They're also going to have to hope this race stays green to the finish. Because if a caution comes out, the race could end at this point. McMurray has damage, though, from earlier after flipping, and I don't know that his car is going to be fast enough to get up here. Jimmy Johnson in second. Kyle Busch is in third. Now, both the Busch brothers worked well together earlier in the race. So if Kurt has a chance to get to Kyle on the back straightaway next lap, you can bet he's going to try to get by Jamie McMurray. And heck, in the tri-oval, he's going to try to get by McMurray. But McMurray squeezes him. Was that too early of a pass from Kurt Busch for fourth? Or can he catch the 5 car on the back straightaway? And I think he will catch the 5. Big run for Kurt right now to the back bumper of his brother Kyle. And we're going to have just 2 laps to go this time by. Can the Busch brothers catch Tony Stewart and Jimmy Johnson? Kurt's car is really loose all of a sudden at this point in the run. Kurt's going to have to try and bump trap Kyle Busch. That was the last hope, but Kurt gets tight into the corner and he's up into the outside wall. He was just pushing extra hard there, hoping that they can make it. Oh, there's a contact off of turn 4. Caution's out. Coming to the white flag. Jamie McMurray got up into the side of Kurt Busch, and our 14th caution of the race is out as McMurray gets up into the outside wall. And we're going to have maybe another restart. I don't know. The race might end under yellow again. We'll see. I think I saw the white flag out. I believe the race is going to end under caution with that yellow with 2 to go. And the green flag going to be back in the air. And followed by the checker. Tony Stewart has won the first 2 races at Daytona this season. His 2nd win of the year. After winning the Daytona 500, he now has won the Pepsi 400 to go along with it. He earned it. I mean, he didn't lead many laps, but he put himself in the right scenario. He led the final 6 laps of the race. And after starting fairly deep in the field, Tony Stewart is going to win the 2005 Pepsi 400. Jimmy Johnson ends up 2nd. Kyle Busch 3rd. Kurt Busch 4th after leading 88 of the 160 laps today. Jamie McMurray flipped, still finished 5th. Bobby Labonte 6th. Casey Kane 7th. Carl Edwards 8th. Jeff Burton 9th, and Elliott Sadler will round out the top 10. Mike Bliss's top 10 streak comes to an end at 11 in a row. He ended up wrecking a little later in this race. Kenseth finished in 11th, led the first 10 laps of the race. Man, Bliss finished way at the back. He ended up DNFing, I think. He finished 2 laps down. Mark Martin finished a lap down in 40th, led 2 laps. 35 cars finished on the lead lap today. And the only driver I think that DNF'd was Greg Biffle, who led 25 laps, but at lap 40 blew an engine. Blew an engine while leading in both Daytona races this season. The 500 with 90 to go and with 120 to go in the Pepsi 400. We blew an engine while leading both times. I don't know why I'm doing that at Daytona, but it's happened twice now, and this is the worst finish of the year for Biffle. Dead last in 43rd. Got 5 bonus points at least, but obviously it's not a good finish. 14 cautions for 40 caution laps, 18 lead changes, 0.2 of a second was the margin of victory. I think when the caution would have came out. 3 hours, 27 minutes total time in today's race, and the average race speed was 115.67 miles per hour. So we'll take a look at the point standings. And we are 0 for 14 at Daytona on an EA Sports game in the Cup Series. Hopefully we'll have better luck at Talladega, the UAW Ford 500. That will be taking place tomorrow night on the channel at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We'll try it again. It's got to be something with the gearing. Elliott Sadler has taken back the points lead. He was 1 point back of Gordon. Now he's 4 points ahead of him. Very tight still. Johnson 85 back. He's slowly charging in. The fact that Hendrick Motorsports hasn't won a race this year, but they have drivers second and third in points is actually pretty impressive with how consistent they've been, despite not getting a win. And Greg Biffle falls back 2 spots in the points. He was 17 out of first and third. Now he's 111 out of first and fifth. Tony Stewart, Mike Bliss still within 1 race worth of points. So is Kurt Busch. So the top 8 within 1 race worth of points after Daytona. Points got even more tighter after Daytona than what it was coming into the night. At least further back in the running order. Edwards not that far back at 9th still. Kenseth had a good start today. Ended up just outside the top 10. I mean, really, you go back to Dale Jr. and 12. Jr.'s making a nice little climb here. He's starting to finally get some consistent finishes. Hopefully it's not too little too late. Still have over half the season to go. I think I'll be alright. Well, that's going to end it for tonight's stream. We'll try it again at Talladega tomorrow night. Like and subscribe for more daily NASCAR content. I will see you guys then. Thanks for watching, everybody. And again, have a good rest of your Tuesday evening.